Ivy, you want to say hi?
Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy Show with Devina Kaur. And today we have Krista and baby Ivy all the way from France. And Krista is just such a joy to be around with. We are friends on LinkedIn, and I am a big fan of her work. She's a marketing expert. She's also a coach. She's a strategist, but also she is a mother of 4 children. And Krista, welcome to the show. I know this year has been very traumatic. Please accept my deep condolences for the passing of your father. Hi, Ivy.
Say hi.
So, Krista, tell us a little bit about your journey and Ivy, and then we have lots of questions for you.
Absolutely. So I'm a marketer from Silicon Valley and spent my entire career in Silicon Valley. And I started an agency for VR, an interactive experiential agency in San Francisco. Ivy, you can go lay down now. Go lay down, honey. Go lay down. Sorry, she wants to lay down. Go lay down. Yeah, run. I'll be right back. Let me put her in there. Don't make me go offline.
Hey, everybody. Sorry about that, but we are live. And this is, when we are parenting and running a business, this is a normal thing to happen. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's patiently waiting for Krista to come back. And she's back. Yay, Krista.
This is the COVID reality, like parenting. This is so crazy. So, Devina, I'm from Silicon Valley, and I came to France in March of this year to spend the lockdown with my dad, who's French, in France with him. And because I thought I would only be here for a short time, we had no idea at that point what COVID was going on, whatever. I just brought my toddler, and my 3 older kids stayed with my ex-husband in San Francisco. And, I thought I'd be back pretty quickly. And as you can see, that didn't happen because unfortunately my dad passed away while I was here. And so then because of COVID lockdown, both in the States and here, it wasn't possible to be traveling back and forth easily. So I decided that this was a sign that I needed to stay here for now, because I'm dealing with my inheritance stuff and my dad's estate. So what that means for me is my whole year almost has been disrupted since I came late March, and also losing my dad and, just being away from my older kids. So it's been really hard on me. And in fact, I made a video last week on my LinkedIn page for anyone who follows me on LinkedIn about it's okay not to be okay, because we're asking people, how are you? But it's almost like, hello, we don't really mean it, and we don't listen to a reply. Mm-hmm. I think we need to, because there's so many people that are not okay. But I don't think that means we're not okay, meaning we shouldn't be ashamed of being like, you know what, I'm not doing very well. And it's not like I go around telling that to all my clients or all my colleagues or, but I do think that my message was just like, we need to take away the stigma around mental health and be like, it's normal not to be happy all the time. Because I think in our society, there's this toxic positivity where I'm a very positive person, but I definitely feel like some people are too obsessed with being happy, and they think, oh my gosh, I'm not happy, therefore there's something wrong with me, and I probably am depressed and need drugs, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say that there aren't real depression and real need for medication, but I do feel like we need to just accept that, okay, there's moments where things aren't okay in your life, right? And we'll get through them. We need to support more people, right?
Yeah, and you know what? When you said that about it's okay to not be okay in mental health, I would say it's okay to be authentic. That's where the true empowerment is. Like, whether you are, like some days are down days, some days are up days. And I'm, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm having a massive headache and it feels like a migraine. And I told Krista, like I said, I run the show because I'm not feeling 100%. And that's okay too. When we are honest, first with ourselves and then with others, I find we get all of that back as well.
Absolutely. And that's the point. Like, we can carry each other. We can support each other. And if people were more authentic, we would also just be better in all aspects, like in our relationships, at work, right? In all kinds of aspects, we would just be better if we could stop having to always be, oh, I'm always 100% when we're not.
Yeah, there's a lot of judgment too, like we're constantly told to fit in a box because fitting in a box is safety. Fitting in a box makes us popular. But I know Krista runs the SASSY Method program, and here I am running Sexy Brilliant. So we're obviously not the normal. We don't fit in the box.
No.
But and then like I really want to talk about you've had four children,
right.
And baby Ivy, we just saw her on screen. You had baby Ivy at a much later time in life. I want to know a little bit more about that, and what it was like getting a divorce, having 3 children, and then having another baby.
Right. So I have 3 older kids from my first marriage. I got married really young. And when you get married really young, you don't fully develop your identity yet. You're still growing on an emotional level, And so I can say that honestly, from the time I got married to the time I got divorced, I'm not the same person at all. I was so much a different person. And what happens is that I always I've always been like a very passionate person, no matter what. That's one of my core values, and very authentic as well. Mm-hmm. And I think in line with my core value is you always have to touch base with yourself. It's a soul-seeking, like permanent journey of asking yourself, where am I at right now? And I think that what happened to me was I ended up realizing that my marriage was over, and I had to mourn, and there was a long period of grief of mourning. And then the joy came back in my life, and I had this period of, and that may sound strange for some people, but after a period of mourning, what we crave most is to find our joy again. So after my divorce, which is technically like a mourning period, you have grief and sorrow, and it's almost like someone died, because your marriage is almost like a living being, and you're almost like fused at the hip. So when you divorce, you literally mourn that loss. But then the next phase is I'm alive, and I'm still, I want to find my joy again, and I want to laugh again and love again. And Ivy was part of that part, right? So I had Ivy actually not with my ex-husband, but with my high school boyfriend who I knew before my ex-husband. And we found each other again, and he's like a polar opposite of my ex-husband. So where with my ex-husband, he's a great guy, but he's very business oriented and very, he's like the 5 a.m. club guy, who's up and like, and her dad, Ivy's dad, is like more like the 4 a.m. party guy. He's like opposite. So I'm like, wait a minute, one's getting up and the other one's kind of going to bed they're very, very polar opposites. And yeah, so having a baby at 40 was very, very different than having a baby when I was 20, right? Mm-hmm. But it's definitely been such a wild and fun journey, and I feel very blessed because I never thought I would have a baby again at this age. The good news is that women have changed, like everything's changing. And so I've actually met many mothers who are older mothers. And I think that with the generations, that's fine, right? So I've met, as I become a mother at 40, I take my daughter to preschool, and I hang out with moms who are also in their mid 20s and now also mothers like me. And I don't feel, I think that what's happening, Devina, is the gap is kind of closing, which means before, when I was growing up, I thought a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old were really different. And today, while I still think that's true, some of my friends are in their 20s. Like, I actually hang out with people and they don't ever consider me like an old, so things are changing. I think it's more about your energy levels. I'm a very funny person, so I like to go have fun.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes I'm even a bit childish. So, for example, I love to go to Disneyland, and my boyfriend too. And so, we'll go to Disneyland and we'll just go on rides. And people are like, that's not a very adult thing to do. But I think that we should nurture the inner child. And I don't feel guilty about that. I don't feel guilty at all, because I can be serious and I can be responsible, but I can also be very silly and just have fun. So
well said. And you know what? The inner child is also a part of us. And as we grow up, we're constantly told, stop behaving like a child. And that's because people want us to fit into a box, right? Fitting in a box is safe, but it's not who you are. So Krista and I are talking about being authentic. And, some of us, it's okay if you don't want to have children at all. Some of us are 40 and we want to have our first child. It's okay to have these desires and then knowing that you have the possibility of manifesting everything. So
you and I this talk is long overdue, because I think that we both align on so many levels. Like, your content really resonates with me because I feel the same way. And speaking of being yourself, another thing that I think is super important is to not judge a book by its cover. Meaning that, just because you see this person and you're like, she's female, she's from this heritage, this is how she is, so she must be a certain way. And I really have in my life been very blessed, because I've traveled so much. My French family lived mostly in Africa, in different countries of Africa. And when I was a teenager, I got to live in Madagascar, which is an amazing, amazing place. And my dad actually married a woman from Madagascar. So my parents were divorced and then he remarried. So I got to grow up also in a biracial family. So not only a very well-traveled family, but also dealing with different cultures and different race. And what I've come to understand is that it's a gift to be open-minded, because when I meet people, I don't immediately make any conclusion. I actually act like a child. I'm curious about them. And sometimes I ask questions in a very authentic way, not because I'm trying to be nosy, but because I genuinely just am well, I don't want to assume anything. I don't know. Yeah. So I think we need to do that more often, because we're missing out on these amazing relationships. We're closing ourselves off from certain people, not because of who they really are, but because of these preconceived notions, we wouldn't get along. I talked about age, having friends who are much younger than me. And, if they would be closed-minded, they'd be like, oh, she's old, she's going to be boring. And it's not the way I am, right? And then they meet me and they're like, wow, I have more energy than them. I'm like, I can out you. Let's go. And that's the thing. We have to get to know people, right? I wish more people would do that.
Well, and also, it's the thing to keep in mind is, when we're going through this COVID and all of that, ultimately we obviously cannot go see our friends, and there's lockdowns, and we're currently in a lockdown, and I know many parts of the world are in a lockdown, but the people who really we can build a community with the people who live around us. So just checking into your neighbors. I know I'm from India, and we do this all the time. And then we're very lucky that we already have that. But with COVID, we're just kind of like more. People need people, so we need to find our community of like-minded friends and family that we can support, and our friends can be our family too. So that's so important. And Krista, thank you. You've been having quite a year and raising a baby. Right now, you're on your own, all the way in France. And when are you likely to come back to North America, San Francisco? See your kids, older kids. You must be.
I know. Soon, I hope. So we'll see. By the end of this year, everything will be clear about what I'm doing here in France.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everything happens for a reason. And when I look back, I feel blessed that I accepted to come and spend the lockdown here, because I had no idea that would be the last time I would see my dad. And I would forever regret it if I had said, no, it's not a good idea, and then never gotten to see him one last time. So I feel really blessed to have come here. And I think sometimes we have to recognize these blessings in disguise and make the best of them. So I think I'm here for a reason. And in the meantime, I'm working online, so I can work anywhere. I've always been a pretty international person, so it doesn't bother me. And I'm just happy to know you. Look, I'm talking to you, and you're on the other side of the world, but it's like you're here, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're also multilingual. How many languages do you speak?
So I grew up bilingual, French and English, but mostly English because my mom. So we spoke more English, but I'm completely bilingual. Then I learned Russian and German because I lived and studied in Russia and Germany. And Spanish I learned in school. So Spanish was our official language in school.
Oh my goodness, wow.
So those are my languages. But believe me, I speak the best language of them all is a smile.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you. Wow. Beautiful. And we're coming to the end of our show. Krista, anything else I know we have a lot to share, but people can find you on Krista Mollion. Mollion.com. And I know we have links to all your YouTube channel, so please guys check that out. And also, is there anything else that you want to share with our audience about the SASSY method very quickly?
I created the SASSY method to help people gain more self-confidence, to overcome their fears that are holding them back, because I think that is the key. In the end, that is the key to living a happy life, is really getting rid of those old labels in your head and just freeing up your mind to create the future you want and rewrite the script.
So well said. Thank you so much. And we're at the end of every show, we pull the Sexy Brilliant cards. So we've got 40 cards here. What number do you want to choose between 1 to 5?
I think 5.
5. I like it. So Sexy Brilliant Empowerment cards.
Those are beautiful.
Here we go. Oh, you chose the card. It says, enjoy sex, enjoy your body.
Well, we can talk about that another time, but I actually have a whole blog where I share relationship tips, and I write about sexuality and about love and about all of those things.
Yeah. I would love to read that, Krista. Please drop it in the comments so that people can find it and I can read it too. And we're gonna just read this card. We can also read another card. It's up to you. So
no, it's okay.
Yeah, good. Enjoy sex, enjoy your body. We are allowed to enjoy sex. Sex leads to deeper intimacy and deeper connections. Learn to talk about sex, open up. And self-acceptance means sexual acceptance. The more we Yeah, the more we know our bodies, the better our actions and decisions. Keep practicing the orgasms, keep practicing the self love as a way to self understanding. What a beautiful card. I love it.
That is really it actually ties back into the show because we talked a lot about stigma around acceptance and being okay with who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sexuality is a part of your health. So I think it's definitely very much in line with self-acceptance and self-love, right?
Beautifully said. I have one last question, and did you conceive? Was it a natural pregnancy, or did you have to go through infertility?
No. Absolutely natural. In fact, Davina, this is the scary part. I remember reading that after like 35, it's going to get harder to get pregnant, and by 40 people have to do the IUV or whatever those things are, right?
Yeah.
Treatments. So I actually got pregnant in like a month. And I was like, what? No, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Yeah, it was way too fast. My
Well,
daughter just laughed. I just heard her laugh.
well, beautiful. Congratulations on baby Ivy, and thank you for sharing your story with us on Brilliantly Sexy. And to those of you who may not know us at Sexy Brilliant, we are a registered nonprofit foundation to remove toxic shame and raise human consciousness. And it's through discussions like this, through connections with other people, opening up and sharing their stories, can we then help each other. Hi, Ivy. So good to see you on camera.
Yeah,
Thanks
you say
everybody
goodnight.
for and sharing.
You have to say bye. Blow kisses.